Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. Part 7.41. Surah Al-A'raf, The Heights. Beloved seekers of divine wisdom, we stand now at a point of profound and transcendental revelation in the sacred narrative of Surah Al-A'raf. We have just explored the covenant of Alaste, that momentous pre-creation event where every human soul bore witness to the singular lordship of Allah ArRahman and ArRaheem. This covenant, as we have learned, establishes the innate human nature of fitron, inborn inclination toward the truth and a direct spiritual connection to our Creator. Now the Quran shifts its focus from this universal spiritual reality to a powerful singular parable that serves as a chilling and timeless warning. It is the story of a person who, despite having been given the clear signs of divine guidance, chose to abandon them, leading to a profound spiritual loss that stripped them of their dignity and left them in a state of perpetual spiritual exhaustion. This part of the surah is a profound and sobering tapestry that weaves together the threads of divine wisdom, human free will, and the ultimate consequences of spiritual arrogance. This sacred discourse speaks to the core of the spiritual life. It is an exploration of the profound concept that possessing divine knowledge is not enough for salvation. True guidance lies in acting upon that knowledge, allowing it to purify the heart and elevate the soul. The verses reveal that a person who rejects the divine signs, after having been given them, descends into a state of spiritual bondage, becoming a slave to their own desires and worldly attachments. The narrative provides a timeless lesson for every believer. Our spiritual journey is not a journey of accumulation of knowledge, but a journey of purification and action. The person who chooses to ignore the divine signs after having been shown them is on a path to spiritual ruin, a path that ultimately leads to a profound and debilitating spiritual loss. The glorious Quran states, Kanzul Iman, Quran, Al-A'raf, The Heights, 7-174. And thus do we detail the signs that they might return. This verse, beloved listeners, is a profound and concise statement of divine purpose. The Quran says, and thus do we detail the signs, wa kadhalika nufasilu al-ayati, a profound and powerful testament to the fact that Allah, in His boundless wisdom and mercy, has provided us with clear and detailed signs throughout creation. These signs are not just to inform us of His existence, but they are a constant and a timeless reminder that is meant to awaken our soul to its spiritual reality. They are the miracles in the universe, the wonders of nature, the sacred texts, and the lessons of history. They are all meant to serve one ultimate purpose, that they might return Lalaham Yarjan. This is a profound and beautiful statement of divine mercy. The signs are not meant to condemn us, but to guide us back to the path of truth, to inspire us to return to our Creator. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught about the importance of divine signs. It is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari Hadith, number 6407, that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Allah has said, I have prepared for my righteous servants what no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human heart has conceived. This hadith beautifully illustrates the purpose of the signs. The signs that we see in this world are a mere glimpse of the immense blessings that are waiting for us in the hereafter, and they are all meant to inspire us to return to our Creator and to strive for the eternal blessings of paradise. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Al-A'raf, The Heights, 7-175. And recite to them the news of him to whom we gave our signs, but he departed from them. So Satan followed him, and he became of the misled. This verse, beloved seekers, introduces a powerful and profound parable that serves as a timeless warning for all of humanity. The Quran commands the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to recite the story of a man who was given the signs of Allah, but chose to abandon them. The phrase to whom we gave our signs ataynahu ayatina is a profound and powerful testament to the fact that this person had been given a profound and intimate spiritual knowledge, a divine gift that was meant to elevate him. However, he chose to betray this gift and departed from them fa and solaka minha. The word in solaka is a powerful and visceral word. It means to shed or to cast off, like a snake shedding its skin. This beautiful and terrifying image signifies a profound spiritual loss, a state where a person willingly casts off their divine guidance and their spiritual essence. The consequence of this profound act of spiritual negligence is then provided. So Satan followed him, and he became of the misled. This is a profound and timeless spiritual truth. Once a person abandons the divine guidance, they become vulnerable to the whispers of Satan. The divine guidance is a spiritual fortress that protects the human soul from the whispers of Satan. And once a person willingly chooses to abandon this fortress, they become a slave to their own lower self and the whispers of Satan. This is a profound and humbling truth for every believer. Our spiritual journey is a constant struggle against the whispers of Satan, and our only defense is to hold fast to the divine guidance. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught about the consequences of neglecting the divine guidance. It is narrated in Sahih Muslim Hadith, number 127, that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The likeness of the one who remembers his Lord and the one who does not remember his Lord is like that of the living and the dead." This hadith beautifully illustrates the spiritual state of a person who has abandoned the divine signs. They have, in a spiritual sense, become dead, devoid of all spiritual life. The person in the parable had become spiritually dead, and his spiritual state was a direct consequence of his spiritual negligence. Kanzul Iman Quran, Al-A'raf, The Heights, 7:176. And if we had willed, we could have elevated him by the signs. But he adhered to the earth and followed his own desires. So his example is like that of the dog. If you chase it, it pants, or if you leave it, it pants. That is the example of the people who deny our signs. So relate the stories that perhaps they will reflect. This verse, beloved seekers, provides the most powerful and visceral analogy in the entire Quran. It is a profound and sobering depiction of the spiritual state of a person who has abandoned the divine guidance. The verse first states, "And if we had willed, we could have elevated him by the signs. But he adhered to the earth and followed his own desires." This is a profound and powerful statement of human free will. Allah, ArRahman and ArRaheem, in his boundless mercy, had given this person the means to be elevated, but he chose to make two profound spiritual mistakes. He adhered to the earth aqlada ila ard, a powerful and visceral phrase that signifies a state where a person becomes so attached to the worldly that they forget the ultimate reality. He also followed his own desires at Abahawa, a profound spiritual ailment that signifies a state of spiritual rebellion against the divine will. The spiritual consequence of these two profound spiritual ailments is then provided in the most powerful and visceral analogy. So his example is like that of the dog. If you chase it, it pants, or if you leave it, it pants. The panting dog is a perfect and timeless symbol of a spiritually exhausted and restless soul. A dog pants out of spiritual exhaustion, a constant and unceasing state of restlessness. A person who rejects divine guidance is in a similar state of spiritual restlessness. Whether they are pursuing worldly desires, if you chase it, it pants, or have given up on them, if you leave it, it pants. They are in a constant state of spiritual exhaustion. The soul, which was created for a higher purpose, is in a state of constant restlessness, when it is not in a state of remembrance and submission to its Creator. The verse then concludes with a profound and timeless spiritual truth. That is the example of the people who deny our signs. So relate the stories that perhaps they will reflect. The story of the man and the analogy of the panting dog are not just historical events. They are spiritual parables that are meant to awaken the human soul to its spiritual reality. They are meant to be a source of reflection and contemplation, a profound and timeless warning against the spiritual diseases of worldly attachment and spiritual arrogance. The Sufi master would emphasize that the story of the man is a profound parable for a seeker who, after having received spiritual knowledge, becomes arrogant and uses it for worldly gain, leading to a profound spiritual loss. The panting dog is a metaphor for a soul that has been so consumed by its desires that it is in a constant state of spiritual exhaustion. The only way to find spiritual peace is to purify the heart from worldly attachments and to live a life that is in a constant state of remembrance and submission to the divine will. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught about the dangers of worldly attachment. It is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari Hadith, number 6441, that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "By Allah, it is not poverty that I fear for you, But what I fear for you is that the worldly life will be spread out for you, as it was spread out for those before you. And you will compete for it as they competed for it, and it will destroy you as it destroyed them. This hadith beautifully illustrates the dangers of worldly attachment, a spiritual disease that leads to a profound spiritual loss. The man in the parable was a living example of this hadith, and his spiritual state was a direct consequence of his worldly attachment. Beloved listeners, the narrative of the man who abandoned the signs is a timeless and universal lesson for every human being. It reminds us that our spiritual journey is not a journey of accumulation of knowledge, but a journey of purification and action. It teaches us that our ultimate accountability is not to our worldly gains, but to our own Creator. May we be of those who take the divine signs with firmness and who live a life that is in a constant state of remembrance and submission to the divine will. O Allah, who is the most merciful and most compassionate, we seek refuge in you from the spiritual diseases of spiritual arrogance and worldly attachment. O Allah, purify our hearts from the love of this fleeting world and fill them with the love of you and your messenger, peace be upon him, Allah, who is the ultimate source of all knowledge. Grant us the strength to hold fast to the divine signs and to live a life that is in a constant state of remembrance and submission. O Allah, make us of those who are among the successful in this world and the hereafter. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ilm. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, ArRahman and ArRaheem.